Hi, I'm Shelly from Keep It Knit. In this tutorial, I will show you how to knit up my new sock pattern, the Tufted socks. This sock is a toe-up sock with a beautiful pattern with some heel gusset, heel turn and a heel flap. And all those techniques you can learn in this tutorial. I have a link in the description down below for my pattern. You can just click it, go to Ravelry, get the pattern and start knitting with me. So let's start. Happy knitting! Hi, my name is Shelly from Keep It Knit, and this is my new sock design. It's coming out in the next few days, and it's a beautiful sock. Starts toe up. It has a Turkish cast on, increases, and then this beautiful pattern that goes on the front of the foot. Then we have our gusset increases, our short rows, and heel flap, and then the patterns goes all around, and we finish with this beautiful ordinary rib, 2x2 rib, and it does look as if it is flaring, but when you wear it on your feet, on your leg, it stands beautiful. I wanted to show you a few steps along the way, how I start my sock, how I work this interesting pattern, and the heel construction. The pattern is called Tufted socks because this pattern reminds me a little bit of a couch that I have in my house. The back of the couch is tufted with all those knits and little dots in it, and this pattern, especially when you wear it and it a little bit stretches on your leg, really does remind me of this, gives this effect. It's a beautiful pattern, I really like it, and let me show you a few steps along the way. The yarn I'm using is a sock yarn by Rosario. It is a 70% wool and 30% polyamide. You will need two of them in order to make two socks. It comes in a 50-gram balls, and the weight of it is something between fingering and a sport weight yarn, but you can use any other yarn, any fingering yarn you would like to knit these socks. It comes in 3 sizes. I'm also using my 225 Chiago circular needles. So let's start. In order to make a Turkish cast on, we need to start with a slip knot. We take our second needle and place it just underneath the top needle, and we have the slip knot on the top needle. We need to wrap the yarn, the working yarn, around both of our needles the number of times you are requested in the pattern. If you need to cast on 24 stitches or 12 stitches on each needle, you need to wrap the yarn 12 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Hold your yarn at the back like that so it will not unravel, and turn your work to the other side. You have your slip knot on the bottom needle. We're going to pull out the bottom needle and work our 12 stitches from the top needle, like that. 12. I'm going to put our bottom needle back. I'm going to pull it back so all the bottom stitches will go on the bottom needle also. As you can see, we have the working yarn coming out from the top and the slip knot on the bottom. And again, we're going to turn our work. Now we have the slip knot on the top and the working yarn on the bottom. We're going to pull out the bottom needle and we're going to work the stitches on the top needle. The first one is the slip knot. We're going to take it out, we don't need it, just like that. And we're going to work the stitches on the top. What I like to do in order to secure my end is wrap it around the working yarn. And then I start knitting. Two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to pull back the stitches on the bottom needle. And now I have worked both stitches on the needle, the top and the bottom, one round. We need to do another round all around. You can already see that in here we're going to have the right side with the knit stitches, and on the back we have the purls. This will be our wrong side. So again, we need to turn our work, our yarn is coming, from the bottom needle. We need to work these stitches. So we're taking out the bottom needle. There we go. We're going to knit again. This is one side. Again, we need to pull our bottom needle back towards our bottom stitches. And we're going to turn our work and work these stitches. We're going to pull out the bottom needle and work the top stitches. pulling back the bottom needle back on the stitches, or pulling the stitches back on the needle. And let's see what we have. This is the right side, and this is the wrong side. And if we fold it, we already have a little beginning of a sock. Again, we're going to turn our work. From now on, we're going to call them the back needle and the front needle. If you need to know where is the beginning of your round, I suggest at this stage just place a removable marker on this side over here, so you know this is the front side of your work, or the front side of the leg of the foot. This is the back side of the leg. Now we're going to start our increases. In the pattern you will find 3 sizes, and you will know exactly how many increases you need to make in order to get your size. I will show you just a few steps how to make those increases. They are made with a make one left and a make one right on each end of each needle on every other round. That means we're going to have 4 increases in a round, and then 1 round without any increases at all, just knit. So if we've worked this needle, we need to work these stitches. We start with a knit one, and then we need to make, just want to make sure you can see this, we need to make one left. In order to do that, we need to use this bar between those 2 stitches. We need to insert our left needle from the front to the back. And we need to knit the stitch from the back in order to twist it. You can see the increased stitch. This is a make one left, and you can see that the stitch goes from right to left. How can I show you? It goes, well, it's hard to see, but this is a left leaning increase. Now we need to knit all the way to the last stitch. And now we need to make a make one right. In order to make a make one right, we need to pick up this bar between the 2 stitches. The left needle needs to go from the back to the front. And we're going to knit it through the front. It's hard to get into it, so I'm trying to loosen it a little bit. Then I go from the front to the back and I knit it. This is make one right increase. You can see the stitch goes from the left to the right. It leans to the right. And knit the last one. These are 2 increases on this needle. We need to do another 2 increases on the other side. I'm going to turn our work. Again, we're going to knit one, pick up the bar between the two stitches from the front, so make one left, so from the front to the back, and knit it through the back. You can see the way it leans from the right to the left. I can see it. And then we're going to knit to the last stitch. Going to make one right. We're going to insert our needle from the back to the front. And we're going to knit it from the front. Going to loosen it a little bit. And knit the last one. This includes our first increase, and that will follow. And now we're going to make a round without any increases at all, just knit all around. After one round without no increases, we're going to make another round of increases, 4 increases for this round. Let's do it one more time. Knit 1, we're going to make one left. We need to insert our needle from the front to the back and knit it through the back. Knit to the end. And then we need to make one right. We insert our left needle from the back to the front. We're going to knit it from the front. And knit the last one. And we do the same on the other side. Knit one, make one left, insert the hook from the front to the back, and knit one from the back, knit to one stitch before the end, I'm going to make one right, insert your hook from the front to the back, from the back to the front, and knit it from the front. Now let's see what we have. We've got a little bit of a beginning of a sock, which is just this tip. And you're going to continue and make your increases according to your own size. And I'm going to meet you right here when you finish your last increase. I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful pattern. We finished all the increases in the toe, and you've reached the correct number that is right for your own size. And now we need to start and make the pattern. This pattern. You can look in the pattern at the written instruction or the chart and decide what's ever more comfortable for you. What I will do now in this tutorial, I will show you the special signs I have in the chart, and I'll show you how to knit them, how to knit it. The first round of the pattern of the chart is just a knit round. You knit all around. That's it. So you just start to knit one round. I've knitted one round all around, just knit around, and then I need to go to the second round or second row of my chart. Make sure when you're knitting to pick up the correct chart for your size, because there is a difference between the sizes. Each size has its own chart. On the second row, you will encounter this sign. Of course, it will look much more smaller, very small. What it actually means that you need, in this specific stitch, you will need to wrap your yarn twice when you knit it up. And how do you do that? First, you need to get to the place where you need to make this special stitch, and then you need to knit it by wrapping the yarn twice. Let me show you. You insert the needle, and then you wrap once and you wrap twice, and then you finish the knit. You actually have 2 loops on your needle instead of 1. This stitch will be longer than the other one, and on the next round you will slip it with the yarn in back without knitting it. Let's do it again. You need to knit and wrap the yarn twice when you knit it up. Just like that. That's it. On the next round, you will be asked to slip this double wrap stitch without knitting it with yarn in the back. And how do you do it? There is the stitch. This is the double stitch, wrapped twice, and you keep the yarn in the back and you just slip it. That's it. Nothing to it. You continue knitting. There's another one. And continue knitting. In the next round, you will also need to slip those stitches with the yarn in back, and I'll see you in the next round. Okay, I've already made the first X's in the pattern, just so when I'll show you how to make those X's, you will understand what I'm working on. So I left you and I told you to finish 2 rounds of slip stitching those stitches that you wrap twice. You wrap it twice, and then for 2 rounds just slip them without knitting them with the yarn in the back. Now we're going to cable them. Let's see. First, let's get to our first slip stitch. There is our first slip stitch. You can see. Let's just make it a little bigger so you can see. This is the slip stitch from 2 rounds ago, and we slipped it for 2 rounds, and now we need to cable it with this stitch. This is the sign that you have on your chart. This is the sign that you have on your chart. You can see this is the slip stitch and this is the stitch just after it. And what we need to do, as of now, they're sitting just like that, one by the other. This is the slip stitch and this is the slip after it. We need to rearrange them on our needle like that. So the slip stitch is in front of the next stitch, and first we're going to knit the next stitch, and just after that we're going to knit the slip stitch. We need to rearrange our stitches on our needle. Another thing we're going to do is this slip stitch that we're going to knit, we're going to knit it with wrapping the yarn twice, hence this sign here again. So let's see how we do it. Let's do a little bit bigger, like that. So this is our slip stitch and this is the next stitch, and we need to rearrange their places on our needle. I need to take this one and put it in front of this one, but it needs to go through the back. So just let's first rearrange them on our needle. In order to rearrange them in this way, I'm going to slip one as if to knit, slip the second one as if to knit, then I'm going to put them back on my left needle, but like that. Now I've changed their places. You can see this is the stitch that goes through the back, and this is our slip stitch. It goes through the front. And now I'm just going to knit them. Knit one, and then I'm going to knit the slip stitch with wrapping the yarn twice. Like that. The next sign you're going to see on your chart is this one. This time, first we have a regular stitch, and then we have a slip stitch, and we need to rearrange them like that. We need to take the slip stitch and put it in front of our regular stitch. And then, of course, to knit this slip stitch with yarn wrap twice. Let's do that. So this is our regular stitch, and this is our slip stitch. See, it's longer. In order to rearrange them, I need to enter them as if to knit two together, and take them off the left needle. And now I'm going to put them back on the left needle one by one. One, and the slip stitch. The slip stitch, I'm putting it, and my needle is already at the back. The stitch is already ready to be knitted through the back loop. I'm going to knit it by wrapping the yarn twice, and then I'm just going to knit. I'm sorry about that. My vacuum cleaner just broke and fell. Just 1 minute. Like that. Let's do it again. Again, we have this sign. We need to rearrange our stitches. We have to put the slip stitch in front and the regular stitch at the back. Here we are. We're going to slip one as if to knit, slip the second one as if to knit, place them back on the left needle this way, knit one, and knit the slip stitch with wrapping the yarn twice. And now we have this sign. We need first to take the regular stitch and put it behind the slip stitch. We need to rearrange them again. In order to do that, we need to enter them as if to knit, two together, take them off the needle and place them back one by one on the left needle. This one, the slip stitch, is already ready to be knit through the back loop. I'm wrapping it twice and I knit the regular stitch. Another way you can do that is just trust your stitches. And what that means, let me show you. You can do it in a different way. Now again, we have this sign. So you're going to drop your slip stitch to the front. Just drop it. It will not run away. These are the two slips that you did in the previous rounds. It just sits here, it runs nowhere. You're going to knit the next stitch, the regular stitch, and place your slip stitch back on your left needle, knit it and wrap it twice. Next, we have this sign. You're going to slip one, the regular stitch, drop this stitch, the slipped one, put back the regular stitch and pick up the slip stitch, put it on your needle and knit it with wrapping the yarn twice and knit the regular stitch like that and knit till the end. We've done the first part of our X patterns. In the next rounds, we're gonna do the second part. This. Make sure that this sign with the wrapping twice is for the first part. In the second part of the X, where you do the upper part, when you come to knit them, cable them, you do not wrap them twice. You will see the sign is different. You just cable them regularly. Now you're going to continue to knit your foot. Again, the pattern goes only on the front. The back is simply knitted. You're going to continue knitting until you come to the gusset increases here and here. And you may ask, how do I know how long do I need to knit my foot? Where do I start my gusset increases? Well, for that, I have a special table on the pattern. In the table, you need to pick your own shoe size, and then it will tell you exactly how many centimeters you need to knit the foot until you start your gusset increases. You have to pick up your shoe size, and then you have to pick up your size that you're knitting, small, medium, or large, and you will get the exact number of centimeters in which you need to knit your foot before the gusset increases. So continue knitting until you reach this amount of centimeters that you need to according to your size. and I'll see you then. Okay, so I've knitted the length of the foot that is required for my own shoe size. I can check it like that just to make sure. From the Turkish cast on, it's supposed to be 13.5 for my size. I've knitted the tufted pattern for the foot, and now I need to start my gusset increases. For that I will need two removable markers. The increases rounds are interval. We have one round with increases and the other one without increases. And the increases will go on each end of the back needle. We're going to have a make one left at the beginning and a make one right at the end, always at the end of the needle. Let's start, and I'll show you how to do it. We need to start with making a make one left. So we need to pick up, let me make it a little bit closer. We need to pick up the bar between the two stitches by inserting the left needle from the front to the back, and we're going to knit it through the back loop like that. We've made a make one left. Now we'll take one stitch marker, removable stitch marker. I'm going to place it like that on the needle. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to knit all the way to the end of the back needle. We're going to take again the removable marker and put it on this needle. And now we're going to make a make one right. In order to make a make one right, we need to lift up the bar between the stitches by inserting the left needle from the back to the front. There is the bar, and we're going to knit it from the front. Like that. The next round for the back needle is only knitting. For the front, we're going to continue the tufted pattern. So I'll see you after this round. Again, only knitting the tufted pattern on the front and only knitted with no increases on the back. I've knitted a whole round of just knitting on the back needle and knitting the tufted pattern on the front. The next round I'm going to work the tufted pattern on the front and make again increases on the back needle. So let me just get to the back needle and I'll show you again how I'm doing the increases. I finished the front pattern and now I'm going to do the increases on each end of the back needle. So again, I'm picking up the bar between the stitches. I need to make a make one left. I need to insert my left needle from the front to the back. And I'm going to knit it through the back. I'm going to knit to my marker. I'm going to slip the marker. I'm going to knit all the stitches in the middle. Their number will not change during the gusset increases because the increases are done outside of the removable markers. So I've knitted the stitches in the middle. I am slipping the marker, I'm knitting the last stitch that I've made 2 rounds before, and now I need to make another increase, so it's a make one right. I need to insert my left needle from the back to the front, and I'm going to knit it through the front. This is the second increase. The next round is only a knitted round for the back needle, and the front again we're continuing with the pattern. So continue like that, increase your gusset like that. I'll show you in the right here. You are increasing on the side of the back needle, on both sides of the back needle, on every other round. And I'll meet you when you finish all the increases you need to make for your own shoe size. All right, so you finished all your gusset increases. You have the stitches between your 2 removable markers and increased stitches on each side of the back needle, just the amount number you need to for your own size. And you're finished row 3 of the gusset increases. That means the last row you did was an increase round. And now you're going to proceed into the heel, and we're going to start with short rows. From now on, we're going to work only on the stitches that are between the 2 removable markers. The stitches on the front and the stitches on both sides of the markers are going to be on hold. I'm going to start knitting these gusset increases and then start working short rows between the 2 markers. So let me show you how I'm doing it. We're going to start knitting first the gusset increases in order to get to the first marker. And now I'm going to start working the short rows. I need to knit to the next marker. There we go. And now I need to turn my work like that. Now the pattern tells me I need to do a double stitch. In order to do a double stitch, I'm going to insert my needle as if to purl, pass it to the right needle. I'm going to pull the yarn and over so the 2 columns of my stitch are sitting on the right needle. It looks like 2 stitches, but it is actually 1 stitch that I've pulled over. And then I'm going, let me just show you it again a bit closer, okay? Just 1 minute, I will make it closer. That's it. I'm slipping it as if to purl, and I'm pulling the yarn over. I'm getting, it looks like 2 stitches, but it's actually 1, and these are the 2 legs of the stitch. And now I'm going to purl to the other marker. I've reached the other marker on the other side. Again, I'm going to turn my work to the right side. I'm going to take, let me just make it bigger. I'm going to make another double stitch on this side, taking my yarn to the front, slipping it as if to purl to the right needle and pulling it over the needle like that. I have a double stitch, and now I'm going to knit all the way to one stitch before the double stitch. This is the double stitch we make on the last row. It looks like two, but it is actually one. I'm going to knit all the way to this stitch, one stitch before. So this is my new double stitch, and I am knitting all the way to one stitch before the last double stitch on the other side. This is the last stitch before the double stitch, and again I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to make another double stitch, yarn at the front, slipping the stitch as if to purl from left to right, pulling the yarn over, creating a double stitch, and purling all the way to the last double stitch we did on the other side. This is how it looks. This is the double stitch, and this is the last stitch. And now we're going to turn our work again and make another double stitch, inserting the needle as if to purl, slipping it to the right needle, pulling the yarn over, making a double stitch, and I'm going to knit to the last stitch before the last double stitch we did on the other side. There we go. You can see I have two double stitches and the last stitch. I'm going to knit the last stitch and turn my work and make another double stitch, slipping the stitch and pulling it over and purling to the last stitch before the last double stitch we did on the other side, purling. Actually, our rows, as we progress in those short rows, are becoming shorter and shorter, hence the short rows. Each time, each side, we knit one stitch less, and we're going to do that until we have a specific amount of stitches that we did not make turn into double stitches, and double stitches on both sides. Again, in the pattern you will see the exact number of short rows you need to make. Let me see. Here I have another 2 stitches before the double stitches. 1, 2, and I'm going to turn my work. Again, make a double stitch and start to knit to the other side. I want to show you what we are getting by doing that. Just a minute, let me get to the middle of my work. more or less. Okay, so we are actually working short rows like that. They're becoming shorter and shorter. I have 3 double stitches on this side and 3 double stitches on this side, and I'm going to continue working the short rows, creating more double stitches to the number of stitches you need to get. It is all written in the pattern. And if I'll show you the sock, the second sock, what you're actually doing, these are the short rows. We are here. Well, it's hard to show because it's already constructed, but we're actually working this triangle over here. We're working the short rows. We're going to leave in the middle stitches that we're not going to turn into short rows, into double stitches. Double stitches are going to be on one side and on the other side, and everything is in the pattern, so you know exactly when to stop working your short rows, and I'll meet you at that specific place. Okay, so I've knitted all the double stitches, all the short rows. I have the right amount here, and here I still need to make the last double stitch. I am on row 3. I'm going to make it with you. The last row is the row 3 in the pattern. This is the last double stitch. I'm going to knit now all the way to the last double stitch, or actually the first double stitch I made on this side. Okay, so I've knitted all the stitches I have in the middle. I'm going to start knitting my double stitches all the way to the last one. And the way I'm knitting the double stitches is by knitting them as if one stitch. You can see. Let me show here. One, two, three, just like that. Continue knitting your double stitches all the way to the first double stitch before the marker. There we go. This is the first double stitch we did on this side. I'm going to remove my removable marker, and now I have a double stitch and the next gusset stitch that I've increased, the first gusset stitch I've increased. I'm going to knit them together, but I'm going to make an SSK, slip, slip, knit. I'm going to slip as if to knit, slip as if to knit, and I'm going to knit them together through the back loop. Let me put them back on the right needle, and then you see I have like a double stitch. It looks like as if I'm knitting 3 together, but this one is the double stitch and this is the gusset stitch. I'm going to knit them together like that. And now I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to slip one with the yarn in front, and I'm going to purl all the way to the other side when I will get to my double stitches, I'm going to knit them, or purl them, sorry. I'm going to purl them also. I'm going to purl all the way to the other side, purling also the double stitches when I encounter them. And this is the first double stitch. I'm going to purl it like one stitch. Need to pick up all the strands on this stitch. One, see, this is another double stitch. I'm going to purl them all the way to the last one. There we go, this is the last one. I'm going again to remove my removable marker, and now I'm going to purl together the last double stitch with the first increase gusset stitch. Enter both of them and purl it together. Now I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to slip one with yarn in back, and now I'm going to start this pattern on the back of the heel. For this pattern, you will see in the pattern, we need to slip one and knit one. We're going to do this all the way to one stitch before the last stitch we have slipped, all the way to one stitch before this stitch, all the way here. We're going to slip one and knit one. So we slipped the first one with yarn in back. We're going to slip again the next stitch with yarn in back. I'm going to knit, and again slip and knit, slip and knit. This is one stitch before the slip stitch from the previous round. This one was slipped. Now I'm going to knit this one, and now again I'm going to make an SSK for this stitch and this stitch. Slip as if to knit, slip as if to knit, knit both stitches through the back loop. And I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to slip the first stitch purlwise with yarn in front. I'm going to purl all stitches, also the slipped one. I'm purling all of them. On the wrong side, we are purling all stitches, except the one we slipped at the beginning. And we're doing that all the way to the last slip stitch. There is a gap here, you can see. This is the last slip stitch, and this is the next gusset stitch. So we're going to knit all the way to one stitch before the last slipped stitch. This is last stitch before the slip stitch, and I'm going to purl together the slip stitch and the next gusset stitch. And again, turn my work. Now we're going to repeat this row, row number 3. We're going to slip one with yarn in back, going to slip the next stitch and knit, and slip and knit, slip and knit, slip and knit. The last one before the slip stitch, I'm going to slip, slip, knit, slip, slip, and knit. And again, turning my work, slipping the first one with yarn in front, purling all the way to the other side to one stitch before the last slip stitch on the other side. There we go. You can also already see that we've started to turn the heel. This is the magic. And you're going to do that, repeat those 2 rows, 3 and 4, until you have one gusset stitch that you did not work on each side, that you did not knit together or SSK together or purl together. And I'll see you then. Okay, so I finish knitting the other side of the heel. I've got this beautiful pattern on the back. I've picked up or knit, actually it's a purl 2 together or SSK, all the gusset stitches, and I have one on each side left, one here and one on the other side. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to knit across, slip one, of course, slip one as if to knit across all stitches, knitting till the slip stitch. I'm going to SSK it with the last gusset stitch. And now I'm not turning my work, but I'm starting to work again on the front pattern, the tufted pattern. Remember where you were when you left it aside a little bit on the hold. Now we're coming back to this pattern, and we're going to see exactly where we were. I have finished the front according to chart A. Going back to the back needle, I still have a gusset stitch that I did not worked. There it is. I'm going to knit it together with the next stitch. And I'm going to knit across the back. Work knit stitch at the back and chart A on the front of the leg, and continue like that till you finish a whole repeat of chart A. As you can see, I was in the middle of the repeat, so I'm going to continue this way until I finish the repeat, all 16 rounds of the repeat. Sometimes you might have only one round to do in order to finish the repeat. In other cases, you might have like 4 or 6 or 8. You're going to continue working chart A to the end of it. When you get to round 16, you're going to move to chart B. Chart B goes all around. You will have the pattern also on the back and at the front. Here, after I have finished the heel, I've continued working chart A because I was in the middle. I was here. I was in the middle of the chart, around row 8. So I continued working till I got to row 16, knitting on the back and the pattern on the front. And when I finished row 16, I moved to chart B and I've started working all around. So continue working. Change the chart when you get to it. When you finish chart A, change to chart B and continue working your leg all the way to where you like it. I usually do 3 repeats on the leg, but you can do whatever you want. Then you're going to start working the rib. That's it. I hope it was helpful. Bye bye.